What up, everybody? It is the Gumbo Pop Podcast. It's your boy, Chef Nigel Henderson, with my co-host.
And what's up, everybody? Oh, look at me. I jumped the gun. I'm so excited to get to this episode. What's going on, everybody? This is Omar, back at you guys.
How you doing, though?
You know what? I'm good, man.
You a little stiff
just
today. You
keeping
okay?
it. I am a little stiff. You know what? I'm in a new surrounding right now.
Okay.
Like I decided to come out and try and put myself in a different space
Okay.
to see if it would
It
change.
looks kind of fancy. Look like there's some
dynamic.
plaques
'Cause
behind you.
I mean, look at you. I had to step it up, bro. You got a throne. You got some, literature behind you. You got something. You got the ultimate literature back there. Well,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
just
it's ultimate
You got
recipes, baby. Ultimate recipes.
You see what I'm saying? So I had to ultimate up it. Ultimate up it. Ultimate it up. I would
Ultimate
say.
it up.
So yeah, I decided to get myself some plaques. You know.
Okay. Well, speaking of plaques, we are now in the second episode of season 2, so that would actually be episode 12 or episode 2, however you look at it, of this podcast. And you're actually in the studio of our guest. His name, he's the
That's
man,
right.
the myth, the legend, Bobby Coleslaw, a.k.a. Bobby Sizzle, a.k.a. Bobby Sunshine. But
Damn.
Bobby is also known, and his real name is Brian Warfield. He's half of the Fisticuffs, which is a production duo that is responsible for the Miguels of the world. They were there day one. The Janae
That's right.
Eikos of the world, they were there. And he's my best friend, or one of my best friends, one of my closest friends. And he's the reason I met you.
That's right. That's very true because you guys were hanging out. He was working with Miguel. That led you to come to that party at his house where we reconnected. So,
So
he's
boom,
a
boom.
very special guest today.
All right, party people. So, without any further ado, the man, the myth, the legend, Bobby Sizzle.
Yes,
There
sir.
you go.
Cheers.
What up, what up?
How you doing, brother?
What's going on, gentlemen?
Welcome,
How you doing?
welcome to the Gumbo Pop Podcast. In true Gumbo Pop Podcast form, we got to start this off with the cheers. So
Cheers,
first,
brethren.
Yes.
I'm drinking a Jameson Black Barrel. What you got, B?
Oh,
We got a little bourbon on deck, you know what I'm saying? A little,
Straight.
with bullet.
Okay. What
that's
you got,
right.
O?
Same thing, man. We bought the biggest bottle we could find. We figured we're gonna finish it by the time this interview is over.
Oh, then I need to come to the studio.
Straight.
Shit.
Yeah, come on, pull up with after.
Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Yes.
Bow.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So, B, known
Yes,
you a
sir.
long time. For those that don't know, you're a very talented musician. And on the Gumbo Pop Podcast, we always talk to our guests that basically live their life in a creative space. You're a producer, but you're so much more. I mean, again, like we said before in our intro, you've worked with the likes of Janae Eiko, Miguel, many more, too many to name. But, how did Bobby Sizzle, a.k.a. Brian Warfield, how did you get to where you are in 5 minutes?
All right. Well, it all started back in elementary school, actually. Now, trumpet was my first instrument. So
Okay.
when I was in the 5th grade, we had there was the school orchestra, and you had the chance to pick an instrument if you wanted to join. And just a little background. My father was super big into music. In fact, he came out to LA. He's from Ohio, so he came out to LA because my uncle signed to Motown back in the day. So that's what brought my dad out. So, always grew up in a musical household. Like he always had jazz and oldies and stuff playing in the house. So, music was always like a big thing, like in the household. And when I was in 5th grade, they had the orchestra. You could pick an instrument. And originally I wanted to play drums, but we lived in a little apartment. So, he was like, nah. So, I was like, okay, maybe the saxophone. But in order to play the sax, you had to start with the clarinet. And so I was like, nah. So then he was like, what about the trumpet, right? So I got the trumpet, and so that's how I started from 5th grade. All my schools were like music-based. My dad had me in private lessons. So, always just in music. And then when I got to high school, he got me my first keyboard where I can actually like produce and make music on.
Okay.
So started doing that. And then, and right after high school, well, my partner, Matt, the other half of Fisticuffs, we actually went to the same high school, like LA High School for the Arts.
Okay.
Loxa, that's the school we met. So met there. After that, that's when we first linked with Miguel. This is before he was signed. We were just doing records.
How old were you guys then?
This was like right after. This was like 2005. So I was probably like early 20s. I think like 22 or something like that. And so linked up with, but yeah, actually I met Miguel like years before that. But anyways, we had a studio. He came through, and just helped facilitate. Just do records. He would put them on his MySpace page. The MySpace times, right? So he would put them on his MySpace page. We put them on ours, and then next thing you know, he was generating millions of hits. Got signed, and then we produced 5 songs on that first album, All I Want Is You, and that's pretty much how we got our start. So.
Shit, MySpace, huh?
Yeah, MySpace.
What was your MySpace name?
Bobby Coleslaw. That's actually where it came from.
Okay.
So the reason people always ask me like, where did Bobby Coleslaw? Like, so this is like my first time ever having like a social media page, right? So, all my friends had it. I was the last to do it, but I'm like, okay, fine, I'll give in and do it. So my whole thing is like, you go into the profile, just setting it up, and it's like name, and my whole thing is like, like people can just search my name and find me. Like,
yeah, we don't come from that era where we're sharing our info like that.
I'm not good with that.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, let me not use my real name. So the first name that just popped in my head was Bobby Coleslaw. So wrote it down, and that was just the alias ever since. So but that's pretty much how it went down.
I got a question. I got a couple of questions because you did a real good job breezing through that 5 minute. Like that was like
I was just joking about the 5 minutes
and a half.
That was it. Here we are.
Question number one. Question number one is, what's the name of your uncle that was signed to Motown, or what was the act, or like how did?
Yes, he was in a group. So his name is Stevie Warfield, and the group was called Different Shades of Brown.
Different Shades of Brown.
Like the name, just like the name sounds. There's a light skin, there's a dark skin, there's a medium skin. It's 4. So,
the foreskins.
The foreskins. Lord have mercy.
So,
I didn't even know that was gonna sound like. My bad. No disrespect.
No, it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, no, Different Shades of Brown. They were like I said, signed to Motown, and so my uncle came down and my dad came down with him from Ohio, and so that's what brought him to LA, and he's
Ohio players.
Born, yeah.
Nice. So, I was joking when I said 5 minutes, and you did go relatively fast over that time. You made it seem like it was 2 years that it took place. But how was the grind, bro? How long did it take you to actually get your first placement? And what kind of crazy, weird shit did you do in between that to make the bills pay? To pay the bills. Jesus Christ.
So from when I first started producing, so like I said, that was like high school. When I first started producing, I got my first keyboard in 9th grade. It was about 10 years before I got my first like actual music check.
Okay.
So that's why I tell people like, people that want to start making music and like they get frustrated after a year or so. It's like, not to say that it's going to take you 10 years. Like hopefully it doesn't, but it's a grind, right? So yeah, you got to put in the work. And but the thing is too, if you love what you're doing, it's it's not really work, right? So like I said, I love making beats and making music, and that's all I ever did, and knew how to do for the most part. So To me, yeah, it was just, it was just what I was doing. And, it's, in saying that too, it says a lot for like the people that came up around me, like, Thundercats, 1500, BJ Chicago Kid. Like, these are all people that were in the studio. We were all in the studio together, and so granted, everyone went off and did their own thing, but like everyone that stepped to it, eventually popped off in some form or fashion. You know what I'm saying? So that's just, like I said, you just got to put in the work, and eventually things will happen for you. But yeah, so 10 years, like I said, was when I got my first check. So, and then what I was doing in between that time, because I had a studio, I would just engineer. So I would charge rappers and singers like hourly to come in, use a studio, and I would engineer and mix, and that's pretty much how I paid the bills for the whole time. Yeah.
Any crazy stories about anybody recording anyone in the studio?
Yeah, there's some crazy shit that went down.
Anything that you could share?
Let me see. Some things I can't say, but I had actually talked about this before. But I had some essays pull up to the studio one time. It was actually a session, a favor I was doing for someone else. So he was like, "Yo, you mind if these dudes can come and record?" Because my boy, he was a producer, he should remain nameless. But he was recording out of his house. So, he was like, "Yo, can you do the session for me?" Well, come to find out, they pull up, and I see why he didn't have them at his house. But it was like these 2 Tahoe trucks pull up, these dudes hop out, tattoos all over their face, and yeah, so, they come in, and so dude is in the booth, he's rapping, and he asked me if I have like any sound effects. Like, he's looking for like a gun cop sound effect, right? So
Oh, shit.
yeah. So I'm like, no, I don't have any sound effects. So he pulls out his gun and he's like, do you mind if I just cock this in the mic? All right, cool. All right, tripping. It goes in. You get it? All right, cool. He keeps going, and then now he's asking if I have gunshot sound effects. Once again, I don't have any sound effects. So he asked me if it's cool to use the gun in the booth to record the gunshot. And at that point, I said no, and I act like the computer crashed. And
Oh, shit.
No, you can't shoot a fucking gun in the studio. You're crazy.
Well, that I was about to ask you, like, at that moment, where you like, oh shit, here we go. It's about to go down if I say no.
Yeah, well, yeah, clearly, like, they didn't give a fuck. So, yeah, it was a little, it was weird, but actually the computer did end up crashing. That was the thing. It's like, it did crash. Could I have started it back up and kept the session going? Absolutely. But did I? No.
No. You're like,
smart move.
Yeah, see
Very
what
smart
happened.
move.
This shit's fucked up. I can't do it no more, man.
Yeah, so that was a crazy story. And then it's recording different people and just hearing some interesting songs. That's like another funny thing too. And then Nigel, you've been around to a couple sessions of mine. Hearing some funny randomness. Like,
I always act like I don't hear anything. I'm just like, oh, it's dope. It's dope. It's really cool.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And they ask you for your critique, and you're just like, man, let me not shoot your dreams down, but shit is
it'd be awkward. They're like, yeah, this is my boy Nigel. Back in the day, he was like, yeah, he works in so and so. And they're like, oh, for real? We gonna play music for you. And I'm like, So it's all gonna get awkward in here. Yes, indeed.
What was the first that first check you got? You said after 10 years of grinding. What song was it for? What was it for?
Actually, well, so our Fisticuffs first placement. So keep in mind, we were working with Miguel. So Miguel got signed, and we were going in to mix the project. So this is our first time in an actual, environment, like a mix engineer studio. And shout out to Manny Maricuni. Manny's he's the one that mixed that album, a bunch of other stuff too. He has like a lot of Grammys for mixing, big wig in the game. But so we're going in, getting our first stuff mixed, and he was like, "Yo, you guys are dope. Like, what else have you guys done?" And we were like, "This is our first, thing." So he actually he was working on Jasmine Sullivan's first album at the time, and he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna connect you guys, whatever." Right? So linked our management up. We sent over some beats because she was like wrapping the album up, sent over a batch of tracks, and she ended up writing to one, and we ended up getting a song called One Night Stand.
Okay.
So that was actually our first placement. So that actually came out before Miguel's stuff did.
Nice.
Nice.
But yeah, so actually going into getting Miguel's stuff mixed led to us getting our first actual placement, like that came out ahead of time. So the first check was
right place, right time.
Yeah, and then like I said, shout out to to the plug. Like he didn't have to do that, but he liked what we had going, and he made the recommendation, and yeah, it worked.
Well, you said right place, right time, but what a lot of people don't know is, like you studied music. You went to school studying music. When most people graduated from high school and went to college, you hit the road. So it was the right time, but you actually had been putting in work for those 10 plus years. So it's never anything that's kind of just fly by night. A lot of and producers these days, not that I'm the end all be all on critiquing producers, but you can tell the difference in the music when that person actually has knowledge of how to write music, how to read music, how to play music. It's a little bit different, but then also it translates, right?
There's a difference between a producer and a beat maker. That's like,
exactly.
It's like, a producer can, like let's say if you're in with like a Beyonce, for instance, if you're a beat maker, you just got beats. Okay, now what if she's like, oh, I want to do a bridge, or I want to change the hook and then go to these chords. It's like, beat maker might not necessarily know how to navigate that, whereas a producer that understands music, like, okay, we could do that. We could, take it there. What key you want to go to? What, what I'm saying, what changes, so on and so forth. So, just having the knowledge is always,
You never want to be in the room and be like, oh, can you do that bridge? And you be like, I ain't never did this before ever in my life. I don't even know what a bridge is. Yes, indeed.
It's like having to play on a click track for the first time. Yes, and then you're just like, a what track? And they're like, yeah, just here's the clicks. And you're just like, oh, shit.
So how does this work? Deep, deep, deep. What do you do? Man, I'm almost finished my first drink. I need to re-up real soon.
What you say you're
sipping on? You mixed?
This is Jameson Black Barrel with a little bit of ginger, with a splash. Splish.
I can dig it. Yeah,
I didn't want to get too drunk while we're interviewing a celebrity. I didn't want to look bad.
I totally get it.
I don't
All
care.
right, B. We're going to get into the question part of our podcast situation, right?
All right.
But hold on. Wait for it.
Ooh, you got
questions. Oh, shit.
It's time for a new chapter.
We improved, baby.
Our budget now.
Ooh, you hear that? Special. They don't even know what to do no more. The Gumbo Pop Podcast is coming up. They didn't. Oh, also, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, Brian also is one of the producers of the Gumbo Pop Podcast. That studio that you see in his background, he actually allows us to use it to film when COVID wasn't a real thing. So thank you, brother.
And gave us an opening track.
And I mean, it's a great. Oh, did you know about the story about the opening track for the podcast?
Did I know the story?
Do you know the story about it?
I mean, you mean about the origin of the song or just how we got it? Because we said, hey, Brian. And he was like, yeah.
Well, we did that. I said, B, we need a track. We need something upbeat. Boom, what you got, right? He sends me the track. I publish the podcast. It gets hit. It literally gets hit for copyright infringement. And I was like,
you never told me that.
Look. Who done it?
And
so I hit him.
Because I was like, I didn't sue y'all, so who did it?
Exactly, right? So I do my research, and literally someone from the MySpace days literally ripped his song off of MySpace, made a video to it.
Well, they took the instrumental and then made a song to it.
Yes. And a video. No, it was a video on YouTube. Mm-hmm. They put the video on YouTube, and it wasn't even queued up correctly at all. So like they had a dude playing his drums like this, and the beat wasn't anywhere near that. And so I made my report and was like, "Yo, I got legal rights to this. My boy let me use it. I paid $50,000 for it, and you need to pay me up." They took it down real quick, and now it's on the Gumbo Pop Podcast.
Damn.
Man,
Shazam!
you do what you gotta do. Sometimes,
Hey,
you gotta threaten legal action.
threaten legal action through YouTube.
This powerful podcast conglomerate.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? All 10 of our subscribers. You know what I'm saying? All right, B.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've known you. I've known you for a long time. You're a food connoisseur. Question to you. Your last meal on earth, what's it gonna be?
Man, I just suck at like just picking one thing because it's like it depends on what my mood is,
It's your last thing to eat, baby.
Thing to eat? Well, shit, it's gonna have to be fucking hearty. I mean, what? Because how am I dying? Am I starving after, or am I getting shot in there? Like, how much time do I have?
So deep.
I mean, you have enough time to eat.
You have enough time to eat and enjoy your
That's
meal.
all you really need to care about.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you this. If it's my last meal, I'm going to a buffet.
What kind of buffet?
Hell yeah.
Because I'm just
Seafood
gonna
buffet, Chinese buffet,
all of it. Vegas, because it got all of it.
Vegas buffet. Yes, it fucking did.
And then when they think I'm done eating, I'm gonna tell them, nope, I'm still going, and I'll be able to promote my life a little bit. So, the loophole right there.
So Vegas buffet, and you kind of use it, whichever one.
I'm eating all that shit. But yeah, the Vegas the ones with the seafood, so I get the crab legs and shit too.
Hell yeah.
Not tacos? No tacos? Or it's a buffet, so they got everything, right?
It got everything, exactly. I was thinking tacos too, but then like I said, that's a quick meal. Like buffet I can pick out. Just be like, fuck it, this is it.
And there's probably tacos at the buffet.
Likely.
Hopefully, if it's a fire ass buffet.
Mm-hmm.
Got a carving station. Be like, you don't even need to carve that shit. Just give me the block of meat. I'm dying.
Give me the whole roast beef, all pink and shit.
The slab.
Oh, moving the camera over here.
Oh man, yes indeed.
I agree with that. I think a buffet is an excellent choice.
Yeah.
So these are, we're still in the middle of COVID. Obviously, we're filming from different locations and whatnot. B, what's been your guilty pleasure throughout the whole situation? What's your go-to food dish or dishes during all this?
Well, it's funny. Okay, so I just moved, right? And it's been about 2 weeks now. And out of those 14 days, 6 of them have been spent at Yoshinoya, which is right down the street. And for those that don't know, like, that's my childhood. Like, I don't know, like, it's not like the greatest shit, but to me, it's amazing. Because I love me some teriyaki, and it's and now they done upgraded the menu, and they got all these different things on there. They got the barbecue beef. You can get some damn sriracha shrimp. You know what I'm saying? But
is it good?
Oh yeah, it's great. It's amazing.
I mean,
everything on the menu.
Do they still have the paper thin? I want the paper thin meat.
Yeah, that's
with the fat that's connected to all of it.
How is there so much fat if this meat is so thin?
Well, that's because people are like, "What is this stringy beef?" But then if you go to Korean barbecue and then you get the brisket, that's it's like the thin shit. So that's pretty much all it is.
I don't know, man. Korean barbecue's beef don't have that same string of fat that connects all the beef.
This is like they boil it and shit. But look, man, once you throw teriyaki sauce on it, it's fire. It kills it all.
I feel like Yoshinoya has its own specific type of fucking teriyaki sauce.
Yeah, special.
And proprietary. It's proprietary sauce.
He said, yes, special.
I feel like the reason it doesn't get as much love as it does is because it doesn't. If you notice, there's no advertisements for it. it'll never have a commercial. There's never. The only time you see it is like in when you get the newspaper. There's like ads for all the fucking Jack in the Box.
I was about to say they do have commercials. You remember that shit? You should know, yeah.
No, bro.
No.
Maybe the town you was in. I didn't see
I
that.
saw the commercial. I heard
It was
it on the radio.
It was a cable
Hey, yo,
access
should
commercial
know, yeah.
for Yoshinoya.
And they showed the food, and I was like, it never looks the same. When you get it, it don't match.
Nah,
But look, I'm gonna be honest. I haven't had it in a long time because you got like flame broiler, you got wobble grill, which are basically I feel like Yoshinoya. They basically ripped the Yoshinoya format.
For me, it's more like
I'll give it a try now.
This is my childhood. Like I've been eating it since like I was. In fact, it's funny. Like this is funny too. So like backing up, like when I was a little ass kid, I used to, because it's called Yoshinoya, but it's also called like beef bowl, right? That's like it's Yoshinoya beef bowl. So my parents used to always tell me whenever I'd ask for like what to eat, I'd always be like beef bowl, beef bowl. So like my nickname growing up, my mom, my nickname growing up was Beeper. So I used to always be like beef bowl, beef bowl. So
Oh, now, hey, bro, you shouldn't have said it. You shouldn't have broke it.
I'm just saying, I'm giving you content. I'm giving you exclusive content. But I'm saying that's how far back it goes to where I can barely talk, and I was like, beef bowl. So to me, it's more like a like a comfort food. I just been eating that shit for my whole life, and it's and that was really.
We're gonna have to have a shirt that says beef bowl, beef bowl.
Beef bowl.
Well, I'm gonna say that this is the first time hearing you tell this story that I've ever heard you do a little bit of what would be that Filipino accent.
Oh, you should hear my mom's voicemails. Bye. Don't forget to eat your food.
Because yeah, of course, like you have Filipino. So it was very interesting. I never heard you like people.
Yeah. That wasn't even really me being Filipino. That was just me being a little kid. And like meatball.
A little Filipino kid.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, beef bowl was something normal, so I mean, it's close to it.
Yeah, but now it's literally like down the street from where I'm at now, so it's great. But yeah, and Thundercat could tell me and him, like it's funny we bond on like Yoshinoya because like the same with him, like he grew up eating it. So whenever we link up, it's like, yeah, we can go eat some fucking fancy shit.
Yoshinoya.
Yoshinoya, and then we'll fucking we'll go in.
Well,
last time we went though, this dude had like a large cups. He asked for like a whole large cup of teriyaki sauce, and charged him like $20 for it.
And he said thank you and just.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It's not a game. It's not a game.
Well, I was bringing the Filipino thing up also to transition to like what your connection to food is, because I feel like when you have different ethnicities, like you get a bit more access to different foods when you're younger. You know what I mean? So like, what's your like connection to, like a special dish on like, both ends?
So yeah, so growing up, well, pretty much from second grade all the way up, I lived with my dad. So preschool, kindergarten. Well, my parents divorced when I was young. So preschool, first grade, all that, I was with my mom, and then second grade, my mom remarried, moved away, and then my dad raised me. So, but I would always visit my mom every summer break, winter break, when school was out. And but I'm gonna be honest, like a lot of the Filipino dishes, I was more of like an American eater. I would say like a lot of stuff I was kind of like scared of, like especially they would do a lot of like fish dishes and like the whole house would smell crazy. So that for the longest, I didn't even eat fish because I was like, man, this shit smell crazy. But then, like years later, I found out about like poke bowls and sushi and all that. So now I fuck with it. But no, there's a couple of dishes though. The one thing about Filipino households, like they eat rice with everything. Like breakfast, you have eggs, bacon, but like rice. Dinner time, you might have some chicken wings, some might eat rice. So, so I mean, I do love me some rice. But as far as Filipino dishes, though, I do fuck with like the lumpia, which is the egg rolls. Mm-hmm. And my mom, she cooks all the time. So whenever I go visit for the holidays, she's cooking it up. So
nice.
But yeah, like adobo adobo, chicken adobo is fire. Pancit. A lot of like the popular dishes like I'll eat. But there's some weird things in there that I kind of just stay away from.
Bruh, I grew up with a Filipino family, and we go over there for the holidays. I eat stuff I had no idea what it was. It tastes amazing, but
Can I tell you this? Can I tell you this is another exclusive story right here?
oh,
Growing up,
sizzle.
weird. So
Oh,
there's
hold on. Wait for
Give me
it.
sound effect, give me sound.
Exclusive. Ooh.
And so Filipinos out there, they probably know the dish I'm talking about. But so growing up, there was they would give me this cup, and they'd be like, eat this, and it was this brown liquid, and then and so I used to always be like, what is this? And they would be like, oh, it's chocolate milk. Drink it, chocolate milk.
Oh no.
But then it's like, I'm not stupid. Like I know what chocolate milk tastes like. This is not chocolate milk. Come to find out, it's a dish that they serve, but it's either I think it's cow blood or pig blood, one of them. But it's fucking blood.
Mm-hmm.
And they eat it over rice and shit like that. But like they used to trick me and tell me it's chocolate milk. So shit like that, like trust issues.
And when you ate it, did. You were like, nah, it didn't taste like that.
Yeah, so.
What did it taste like?
I don't remember. I was too young, and then when I found out what it was, I never ate it again because I was like, that shit sounds crazy. I'm not drinking no damn
Pig's blood, yeah. I mean, well, they have like blood sausage and things like that, which actually kind of tastes good. I ain't gonna lie. It's rich, different, but it's pretty good. But this segues into kind of the next question. What's the craziest shit you've ever eaten? Is it balut? Have you eaten that? We are back. We had some technical difficulties, but you know what? In the middle of COVID, a little technical difficulties we can deal with. You hear me? There we go. But
you are all about this soundboard. You are loving this soundboard you just got.
Oh yeah, I love the soundboard.
Does it have any Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Nah, it doesn't. But
lines?
I can download any audio file and add it to it. So we're gonna get Brian to make us some sounds. All right. So before we were rudely interrupted by the interwebs, I was asking you what's the craziest thing you've ever eaten, and then I also asked if you've eaten balut, which is like a semi-developed embryo of a chicken in an egg shell.
I ain't eating it. I ain't eating it. That shit look too crazy, bro.
That's your people. That's your culture.
Hey.
That's your people.
They can eat it. That's cool. But shit, black people eat chitlins. I ain't eating no chitlins.
Yeah, I ain't eating no chitlins. I'm sorry, I don't like it. But you eat sausage. Sausage is the casings. Testing.
I mean, hey, I guess if you played it right, and don't tell me what it is.
So what's the craziest thing you've ever eaten?
I mean, yeah, it's probably probably that damn cow blood or pig blood or whatever.
Okay.
Aside from this is kind of crazy. It's I don't know how common it is. You might know. Well, speaking of buffets, when I was in Vegas at the Bellagio buffet, which at the time was like years ago, but it was like the most expensive one. I was able to eat ostrich, which I didn't even know was legal.
No, I've had ostrich. I've had ostrich burger at Fuddruckers.
Oh, is that right?
It's pretty good too. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I don't.
Ostrich is good.
Yeah, see,
I don't know if I can eat an ostrich as well.
Yeah, no, I didn't know. I just never see. It was at the buffet, and I was like, damn, this is exclusive.
So, but wait, how was it served when you had it? Was it like a slice of it or ground, like a beef? I mean, a burger?
It was a slice, and I didn't really like it. It's what you call gamey.
Very gamey.
Yeah, it is.
And then it also depends on what they eat. Like, do they eat worms? Because you also saw the cartoon where they were like head on the ground and they pull up worms.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, yeah.
I'm cool.
What else do they have access to? I mean, it's not like we're eating wild ostrich though. Like it probably comes from like a ostrich
farmed
farm.
ostrich.
Like,
Yes, you're right. You're 100%
yeah,
correct.
it was probably emu. They just lying to us.
Free range.
Free range emu. Lord have mercy. Not the ones that not the ostrich racing ostriches. You got the other ostriches.
Yeah.
We got
You
on
know,
ostrich meat. That's weird. You'd think we were smoking instead of drinking.
Well, after the show. But what I was thinking of was I wanted to ask you because like I feel like growing up I ate a ton of beans, right? So now I feel like I'm really good at cooking beans. Like as far as like growing up, and I picked that up, but I'm real shit at rice. You said you ate rice like every meal. Mm-hmm. How good is your rice?
You know, it's funny. So it wasn't until my mom came to visit me at my old spot. She bought me a rice cooker. I didn't really make rice. I would honestly, like, I would eat out a lot, and I would cook here and there, more so like breakfast stuff, like get up and just cook breakfast. But I was always like out at the studio or just like out. So I, for the most part, I always out. But it wasn't until like more recently with the whole COVID thing, like, I've been like really getting my chef game up. And luckily I have a chef friend, so I can ask him some questions when I need to.
Or take his virtual cooking classes that he does,
We'll make a crab and brie quiche?
Yes, with the nori butter crust.
Right. Mm-hmm, the nori butter, yeah, I know how to do that. You know what I'm saying? Bam.
Sizzle.
You know what I'm saying? Impress your girl.
So you're on the, you're rocking the rice cooker, right? So it always comes out good. So can't be mad at that. That's what it's for.
People will judge you on how you make your rice, by the way. So
yeah. No, sometimes
I don't have a rice cooker, man.
Even with the rice cooker though, like you got to know. I mean, because it doesn't like really tell you like it's like okay, like 1 part water to 1 part rice. But even I'll do that and like it'll still sometimes like it'll stick at the bottom or get burnt. I'll have some burnt edges. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Right. I still got to finesse it, but like the middle of it,
hit it with a little bit of. You just hit a little bit of salt.
I'm just eating the middle.
A little bit of oil, maybe a bay leaf.
Oh, is that the salt and the oil that makes it not stick?
Just a little bit. Then I learned another hack. Right, if you are boiling rice on your stove, you don't know what you're doing, and it's too wet, you can literally put one of your ends of your bread in the pot, cover it. It'll soak up all the residual, and it'll fix your rice situation. And it works.
What if you, because you know how your phone is wet and you put it in rice, what if you just throw more rice in there? Does that work?
I don't know.
Whoa. Wait, now really?
I'm going to try it out.
Well, what about stirring the rice, Nigel? Are you of the school that like you just set it until it's done, or will you open the? Because I remember my mom yelling at me if I opened the lid of the rice. Like she's like, "What are you doing?" Like,
okay, you can't do that.
But like Nadia will cook rice and she'll like open it and stir it and put it. You know what I mean? And it comes out good, man. So I don't know. What do you think?
Brothers, there's so many ways to cook rice. I mean, I use a rice cooker just to be safe. I use a rice cooker and I use the ratios that they have on the box. And I, for the most part, work out. But again, I add salt, I add a little bit of oil. If you're cooking it on the stove, I work with chefs that are like, don't you fucking ever stir my rice. And then I've worked with chefs that'll be like, no, you got to fluff it a little bit.
What kind of oil you use?
I'm healthy, baby, so I use a little avocado oil, you know what I'm saying? I might give a little bit of, olive, but I drop the avocado because, I'm healthy and shit. Smoke point.
The only time my rice has ever come out all right was in like a OG pressure cooker. Like, I mean, no electronics whatsoever, just the shit is going off and that little bell on top is shaking and the dogs are getting mad. Like, but it seemed to come out good in there. But I also cooked it with the chicken at the same time. You know what I mean? It was like
Oh yeah.
it
My
really
grandmother
worked
cooked
out.
with a pressure cooker when she did rice, and she could make like a cream rice that we used to eat for breakfast. It was amazing. Mm.
Man, well, we used to eat arroz con leche for breakfast.
Spilled a little
Oh,
bit of
you're wetting the
alcohol on my
crawfish.
shirt.
You're rehydrating the crawfish.
I am. I'm rehydrating the crawfish with a little liquor. So B, excuse me. We talked about. I got a little bit on my face everywhere. I gotta get that shit out of here. You know, we talked very briefly about, you know, your heritage. Obviously, we know Filipino. We also know Black, because I know you. I know you're Filipino and Black. I know you love food. What is your connection with food? Like, in your mindset, I mean, we've eaten out several times. And again, like Omar said earlier, you know, different cultures sometimes, especially with a mixed background, you get kind of the best of both worlds. But what's your connection with food?
Shit, I just like it, man. That's like, you know, because there's not much else. Like, you know, it's like, oh, what do you like to do for fun? Like, you know, it's like,
Eat.
I feel like that's like one of the better things you can give someone. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just go have a meal. It's like a good, you know, I love me a good home cooked meal. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's like, you know, if I'm dating a girl, you want to impress me, like, cook me some shit that's fire, then, oh, yeah, you know, what they say, the best way to a person's heart is through their stomach, and shit, you got it.
100%.
You know, but no, I just, like I said, I just love eating, man. So, yeah, you know, because like I said, like if I'm kicking it with the homies, it's just like, you know, we might chill, we might drink, smoke, whatever, but then it's like, you know, what else
Who
to do?
eating?
Go eat, you know. So yeah, that's how you break bread, and you know, you be merry.
Yes, indeed. So I'm feeling like you like the more communal food is important, but the communal aspect of it is there as well. Because if you have a big buffet and you're by yourself, doesn't have the same.
I mean,
I'm still gonna be-
the Chinese buffet right there on La Brea and Rodeo that I've been known to eat at.
Man.
By himself. Need some
that's
comfort.
gonna
I'm gonna go to
be-
the
actually-
buffet by myself.
Brian and I already said that when this is all over, that's where we're gonna go celebrate.
Hey, I like that.
When we can go to a buffet, we're gonna go celebrate there.
Hey, that's what
Unlimited
I
crab
feel that.
legs.
I feel that. We need to make it a situation, right? When COVID is over, we make a pilgrimage to the buffet with the homies, and we flourish.
And it's great too because you don't have to worry about when the bill come. Like, oh, I only got this. Like, it's a set price. You know, what I'm saying $20, $25, whatever, and you just fucking flourish. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like even for birthdays or whatever, it's like Korean barbecue buffets. Like you have a set price, all you can eat.
Korean barbecue didn't change
know
since
what it
COVID
is.
started, bro. It looks
Yeah,
kind of bad.
Oh, man.
It changed, but hey, I still pull up. They still got the little shit on the outside. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey,
Oh, yeah.
for you. I know. I've been there.
Yes, indeed.
Well, hey, so here's something interesting. So you know you're a producer, you make tracks, obviously you got hits and all that. But I wanted to know what it is that you listen to, or now that you're cooking a little bit more, like do you have like a cooking playlist, or do you just go like on Spotify and it's like Italian dinner playlist and just listen to Dean Martin?
Lord have mercy. Dean
You know,
Martin.
what I listen to, yeah, again, it depends on the vibe. Like, you know, I have my turn up playlist that I curate. I have my chill playlist that I curate. I mean, for the most part, those are like my two vibes. Like I have a turn up one and I have like a chill joint. But as far as like when finding new music, I found that you know, because I actually have both, I have Apple Music and Tidal. I got Tidal because I like the fact that they show the credits, right? So, you know, whereas
that's right.
music, you know, you don't see you don't know who produced what, you know, whatever. But on Tidal, it's like I can go to a song and be like, oh, who produced this, and see. So that's literally why
I didn't know that. That's dope.
yeah. So so yeah, that's I don't know why most platforms they because it's like back in the day you had the booklet, so you can look through it and see everything. But
Right.
now it's like now if you want to be like, oh, who wrote this or who produced it, you have to
You got to
Google it.
really
And,
dig, yeah.
yeah, you got to like actually dig. Whereas the title, again, has all the song credits, everything from who engineered it to who mixed it to produced it, whatever. So that's literally why I got Tidal. But all my playlists are still on Apple, so I was like, fuck, I don't want to lose like all of it. So now I'm just paying for both. But again, I do music. I'm like whatever, $20 a month for both. It's fine.
You write
But
it off.
right, yeah, but because I subscribe to those, it's like I utilize the playlists that they have. So that's how I find a lot of new music. Just kind of like a lot of times too, like you'll have a song and like it'll play like similar records. So once that song finishes, it'll just play. So sometimes I'll be listening to that and then like save certain songs from there to my playlist and kind of build my shit up that way. But yeah, as far as what I listen to when I cook, I mean, unless there's a specific album that I was like, just want to hear, or if there's like some new music, I want to chill. Like even today, like Ty Dolla Sign's album just dropped, so I was like, let me just listen to it. So I was just riding to it. So I'll listen to a lot of like what just dropped, but for the most part, yeah, I'll either go on a playlist or just kind of let the streaming service playlist go and kind of
So then,
go.
question. Another question. When you're getting into your creative vibe,
Mhm.
how does that work? Are you listening to specific sounds? Are you coming together and like planning and plotting out a specific theme? Like, what's your process when you're getting into your creative situation and you're
Mhm.
creating?
Yeah, it depends. I mean, if let's say if we're working with an artist and because at the end of the day, as a producer, your job is to bring to life whatever the artist is the boss, right? So it's like, your job is to, bring to life what their vision is. So, a lot of times it'll be like, okay, give me some references, if any, so obviously if they give references, you listen to those and kind of like, kind of get an idea from that. Um, but a lot of times too, if there's no project in mind, if I'm just like creating, yeah, sometimes listening to a lot of like new music can be inspiring. Or sometimes I'll go on certain like websites and download like sound packs. You know what I'm saying, and like that'll give me like some inspiration too, because I don't really sample records because when you deal with sampling, you have to deal with clearances and like that whole nine, which can be pain in the ass. But what I like to do is I like to sample from like royalty free, samples,
Yeah.
meaning it's like meaning like for instance, there's a couple websites out there like Splice is one of them where you pay like a monthly membership, but everything's like royalty free. So you have access to all these, and you don't have to worry about what I'm saying, like getting it cleared or paying somebody 50% of your song or whatever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a lot of times I'll go to websites like that, or I'll buy certain sound packs and just use that as inspiration because it's kind of hard to just be creative all the time, right? It's like so.
Right.
But if you're able to sit down, pull up a bunch of sounds with your inspiration, it's a lot easier to work off of that and then create from there. So that's what I'd like to do.
Yeah.
Okay, and to touch on that last piece that you said,
Mm-hmm.
there's, oftentimes it's very hard to be creative. We are still in the midst of COVID. We just got finished with an election that has all kind of bullshit around that.
Mm-hmm.
How have you, as a creative, been able to kind of navigate that space and still, find those creative juices to do your craft?
I always say shit when COVID happened. I mean, quarantine happened. My life has damn near been quarantined. Like, I'm always either at the house or at the studio anyway. Like.
Okay.
So it's not like my job is a 9 to 5 where I had to go into an office. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, the only thing that changed is like people aren't really in the studio like doing sessions like that. Um,
Right.
but the people like when quarantine happened, I was with Janae and we were wrapping up the album and the deluxe and all that. So obviously like we were still in there just like us, but like so that was fine. But uh, I guess currently now it's a lot of just more sending tracks out and stuff like that, which I don't mind. You know, I like it better to be in the studio with the artist because you can actually like, you know, bounce more ideas off of each other. Yeah, and you have more of a chance to get something going opposed to just sending beats. But, you know, at the end of the day, like, you know, I was always woke up and at the house or at the studio by myself or, you know, with my partner. So it's like, you know, when quarantine happened and everyone was like, stay at home or, you know, don't go anywhere. I was just like, this is what I do anyway, right? So,
yeah.
All right, cool.
No.
We're back from commercial break. It is the Gumbo Pop Podcast, episode 2, season 2. What did you say?
I said so many sponsors. It's insane.
Yeah, we're sponsored by Fisticuffs. They've paid for everything on this podcast. And they're going to cut us another check next week because they make all the monies. And I appreciate that because they're my best friends.
So, Brian, we're getting close to wrapping this up. You know, but I did want to ask another question. I wanted to go back to something you said earlier. You said that your first instrument was the trumpet, right? So I mean, obviously, I know because we know each other that you know you became proficient at it, so that's great. But what I want to know is, when do you try to find places where you can throw that in, like because or is it no longer like your first love anymore? You're just like, I found the keyboard, I'm way better at it. You know what I mean? Not everything needs a trumpet.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if I can do it, yeah, but you know, for the most part, like, yeah, it hasn't been called upon too many times. But you know, Omeezy, because they always make fun of me. But like, there's a song, and I'm gonna sing the horn line. That was actually me playing the trumpet on there. You know what I'm saying?
What was the name of the song, the group?
Safe and Sound.
Safe and Sound.
The Capital Cities.
Capital City DJs, right?
Or just Capital Cities as
well. Capital City? Yeah,
Quad City DJs.
I'm thinking the at night. I think you.
And he's in the background playing trumpet.
Hey, it's a big song though, bro.
Yeah. No, what's crazy is like I did it as a favor for the homie. He was like, yeah, they need a trumpet on the song, so I went and played it. And then next thing I know, that shit was like on the damn Super Bowl and like all, you know, like. So yeah. So you know, so I mean, yeah, if I can use it, you know, I'll bust it out, but. It's kind of hard to be like, playing some like, you know, some vibes, some chill shit, and it's, you hear like, you know.
Hey, that's one of the big songs of a decade, though. That's a big song.
Yeah,
it's a really big song. That's
something like that.
He knows it.
I've never heard that song ever in my life. Ever. I'm all fuzzy. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Man. Well, all right, B. We're going to wrap this up. For myself, Nigel, a.k.a. Nigel with a knife, a.k.a. Chef Nigel P.
Chicken Chef.
Chicken Chef.
Chicken Chef.
Half of the Gumbo Pop Podcast. I want to thank you for joining us. Go ahead, Omar.
Yeah, well, definitely. I want to thank Brian. I also want to thank everybody that's listening to us. Again, I'm Omar. You can find me on Instagram, OMRVLZ.
B, if they're trying to follow you.
Well.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, brother. Go right ahead.
No worries. We were actually saying the same thing. So now this is Brian. Give us your ats.
My ats. Bobby Coleslaw. Like I said, if you want to find me on MySpace, it's still the same.
You still have a MySpace page?
Well, you know, it's funny. I just right now when the shit crashed and I was trying to see if the internet was working, I went to MySpace and the internet was working and the MySpace page was not. But
Lord have mercy.
But I mean, you know, it's still Bobby Coleslaw. Instagram, Bobby Coleslaw. You know, and that's it. You know what I'm saying?
What new projects can they listen to that you've worked on in the last couple of months?
Yeah, I mean, the most recent thing is Janae Eiko, the Chilumbo album. We produced majority of. Had like 9 records on there, and then the deluxe came right after that. We produced, a lot of those as well. So, and the Grammys and stuff is coming up. So, if y'all over there voting, help your boy out. You know what I'm saying? Help
Absolutely.
everybody out for the culture.
Okay, you heard it. Make sure you check out Janae's latest project. Make you check out Bobby Coleslaw. If you're listening to this, tell a friend, tell a grandmother, cousin, auntie, boo-boo, all that shit. Make sure you subscribe to the Gumbo Pop Podcast. It's available on YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple iPods. I don't know. Podcast.
Put it on your iPod
All the
Mini.
damn podcast
Put it on
shit
your
that you
iPod
can
Mini.
possibly do. Look us up. Just look up the Gumbo Pop Podcast, and you can get this interview and many other interviews, and you can find out why Omar hates taco seasoning. You can get interviews with celebrities like Bobby Sizzle, a.k.a. Bobby Coleslaw, a.k.a. Bobby Thunder, a.k.a. Brian Warfield. And this is the Gumbo Pot Podcast. Checking out. Hold up, wait up.
Thanks for having me, my friends.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for producing the podcast. Thank you for helping us out. Thank you for producing the music for the podcast for the low cost of $1 million. I wrote it off for $1 million.
Speaking of the trumpet, let's cut away to the music at the end, and then they can hear that horn masterpiece over there as well.
Oh, okay. It's gonna play in 2 seconds. 1, 2, 3. And it's playing in the background. Playing in the background.